Good evening, everybody. Lovely to be with you. Thank you so much for joining us for the launch of another brand new one-day special. And I know that as soon as I mention Groovy and as soon as I mention the lovely name of Barbara, it's going to be a brilliant and busy show. A very good evening to Barbara in the studio with me.
Hello,
I don't
Scott.
know the last time we were together actually in the studio.
Happy New Year, if
Happy
I'm
New
allowed to
Year
say so, dear.
For 2021 and for 2022, actually in person. It's really lovely, genuinely, to see you here with us.
Thank you.
Because I know we've seen
it's
you
lovely
on.
to be back.
Oh, good. We've seen you on the screen with us, you know, when we're doing Zooms from your studio,
yeah.
but you can't beat the real Barbara in person right here. So, on behalf of everyone that's watching, lovely to have you back with us as well.
Thank you very much, Scott. And Happy New Year to everybody at home.
Oh, yes.
We're going to have a good few hours.
We are. We certainly are. And I will tell you, Barbara, that we are already busy for this. So I'm not surprised. Not just this. You might want to just check ahead as well on the website because we've got some brilliant offers. We will come through to them more a little bit later on as well. We're going to focus on the one-day special. But if you love your Groovy Plates, etc., have a good look down there. We'll take you through what we're starting off with. And whenever, just as general from my understanding of regarding Groovy, I always know that whatever we end up with is beautiful, it's pretty, and it's achieved so simply once you understand how it all goes together.
It is very logical.
Really creative.
Yeah.
And what we've got here for a one-day special carries on that theme with just the lines and the lace and everything we can see here. This is going to create beautiful, beautiful elements, isn't it?
Thank you, Scott. Yes, these beautiful, these are grids that have been designed by Josie Davison, and they're designed on the diagonal. So at first glance, you can see diamantes, diamonds, they're very, rather than on the straight, you can see that these are very, yeah, they're on the diagonal. So they have a completely different look to them.
Right.
And you'll see, for example, these are the first of 2 collections of grids that we will be launching this year. That's the plan.
Right.
One in January. The next one will be in September.
Oh, right. Blimey,
yeah, so
that'll be before we know it.
This is, yeah, very special indeed. And what I love about these are, one, they're A4 square, which means that they're larger, easier to use. So if you were thinking of dipping your toe in the grid work skill set pond, then these are a fantastic starting place. Because they're larger, there's a lot less manipulation required. They literally, you can just, I'll show you how they work, but they're large, they're easy to align, they're easy to turn around on the corners, and because they're diagonals, I find them easier because they go round 2 corners at the same time. Whereas with the straights, very often they just go round 1 corner and then you have to turn it and 4 times. Whereas this one, you just flip it, sorted.
Right, so a lot less of the setup, you know. And when you start thinking, if you are starting out on this journey, it's a great kit to go with. If you've already got, you know, your Groovy Plates in the past, and you'll know how amazing what you can create with these. I wanted to show you some more of the samples with regards to these because each one of the frames and the borders that you've got with these, they are absolutely beautiful. They are gorgeous. By the way, there's lots of elements on the inside of some of these samples I'm going to show you. You can check all those, shop ahead. This is what I'm talking about, certainly alphabets, the numbers as well, all of those. Shop ahead on the website, of course, on thecraftstore.com, because if you want to carry on that ornateness that you're going to get with these gorgeous framings, I mean, they are simply stunning. Let me just show you. I mean, the lovely thing is you can work them to different sizes as well, though, even though they are the larger plates.
And the other thing about them as well, yes, of course you can. And not only do they go, you don't only have to use them as a frame, you can use them, there we go. Now, this is a perfect example, as if by magic. If you look to the bottom half of that tag, you'll see that they just make the most beautiful underliners or just accents on artwork. You don't have to go all the way around. And the other thing about diagonal plates is what you'll see is, as we look at them more, that the 2 sides, they give you different designs. So if, for example, you came to my overhead, I would be able to show you, here we go, perfectly. Let's look at Bordeaux, for example, Scott, and you can see that the pattern along this edge is different to the pattern along that edge.
Right.
So this is very very interesting. Again, look at Toulouse and you'll see that the patterns are different as they turn the corner. So you've got choices now. You can either use the different patterns down the side, or you could, of course, all 4 sides like that.
Same.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
But it makes it very... The other thing is that the top? And is that the bottom, or is that the top, and is that the bottom?
Yeah.
So it starts, the versatility is very simple to achieve.
Yeah, but the results are amazing when you got these. I think for projects, and me, when I look at these, you know, from a crafting point of view, I look at that and when the results can look so professional at the end, where you believe these have been done in sort of either mass-produced, you know, professional kind of equipment that's done this, but because you give them all the tools within these kits, you've got all the tools that you can create, all those elements, you know, with the numbering, the framing that we've got here, the colouring, the papers that we're using, the parchment, all of that, you get really professional. Even from a first time we're trying to do these,
yes.
It's very hard to get it wrong. I mean that with the greatest of respect. You know what I mean?
There are a couple of tricks and tips that I'm going to show you, but this is grid work. You know, traditionally, the Pergamano type of grid work is a very, very complex counting game.
Yeah, right.
Because one used to have a grid with holes in it, and then the traditional parcher would start counting, almost like knitting. You know. Right. And then so you would build the patterns out of a solid wall of holes. And what Josie and what Clarity have developed are these plates that give you the patterns built in. Not only the embossed side, because it comes in 2 halves, and we'll look into this more closely in a moment. Yeah. 1 half is for embossing, i.e. the little white dots, and the other half is actually perforated. They're drilled holes. Right. And the 2 sides just fold over onto what I'll show you. If you, example, you come to my overhead here, if we were to take a look at the Marseille plate, you'll see that this half, if I turn it over, this is the embossing half. Right. It actually says on here, emboss this side up.
Okay, it's labelled.
Yeah. When I flip it over, let's have a look there. See, it says emboss this side up. When I flip this one over, on this side, it says perforate this side up. So when you perforate that side up, can you see that?
Got it. Yep.
Shall I bring it down onto the counter? Does that make it easier, Marcus? So this one says perforate this side up, and these are the ones they're drilled holes. So you can actually put it goes right through. You see? Right. And so that's what I'm going to show you, is how these 2 sides work together.
Right, lovely. Well, I tell you what, let me give you the details now. I tell you what, it's way over. In fact, we're rapidly approaching 20% of the stock already, and we are only 7 minutes into the launch of a whole one-day special. So I did say at the very beginning, it's going to be a very, very busy one-day special. Do not miss out. If you've never tried it before, now's your chance on this offer that you've got. If you know about your fantastic Groovy, then make sure you get this into your collection. I do recommend, if you're not yet, becoming a Freedom member, because there are some huge savings to be had for yourself on this one. £26 saving for a Freedom member right now, which means you're only paying $53.96 for the whole collection that you can see here, and that is also delivered for that price. Now with that, you can split that down, so you're only paying $26.98 on your very first of your payments, and there's only 2 of those payments to be had, so a really fantastic opportunity. The item code you need, and like I say, 20% of the stock is almost gone now on this, so they know it, but you need 073987 is your item code. Get that in, get it into your basket, and get it checked out as soon as you possibly can. I did mention lots of other elements that are going to help you build up what you can see here as samples. They're all on the website, on thecraftstore.com. Have a look down there. You're going to find your brilliant, the gorgeous, the Italian Cities alphabet borders. That will work really nicely with what you're seeing. You've also got the A5 of the Italian cities. They're in there also if you want to go for the diagonal lace grid or duets. That works perfectly. But there's a whopping offer that you can also see. 5-star reviews on this. This is a phenomenal amount on this one. If you want to go for the alphabet and the numbers that you're going to get with the book you're going to get, plus you're going to get 2 of your A6 storage folders. That gives you 36 plates. We're going to look at that in some more detail later on. That doesn't really tell you the whole story, but I will tell you you've got an over half price saving on that right now. And do make sure you're shopping ahead. People are already doing that. They're already putting that in their basket because each of those plates have got so many different options on those letters, all those numbers you're working with. You need that in your collection. It's phenomenal. Right, before we get on to that, I'm not stopping you, of course. Browse away. Please browse away while you're going through all those, but make sure you're focused on your one-day special. It launched at 6 p.m. right now, so this is your chance to get it. £59.96 with that £20 saving. If you're not a Freedom member, that's still a great offer, but you could become one and still be quids in, couldn't you? 20% of the stock has already gone. So let's see this in action. We've got Toulouse, Paris, we've got the Marseille, and we've got the border. How are we looking? Where do we start with this then, Barbara?
Well, thank you,
It's
Scott.
busy.
Thank you. I thought we would take a look at the Marseille plate, and the first thing is to see it actually completed. So if I were to show you this sample that our Josie has completed for us, you'll see that she's literally, it's as it comes. This is how it works. That said, don't forget that if you wanted to, you could make it smaller. You see, just by reducing the number of diamonds, if you like. So the first thing you have to decide, of course, is, in my opinion, one has to decide what is it that we're going to frame. That's what I think, that's the first starting place. So let's say, for example, we take one of our alphabets, the B here. So here's the plate. Let's say this is what we want to frame. So you can see that it sits exactly. You'll also notice that on the embossing side here, where we put the white dots, we've got these lines, the traditional Groovy plate. And this is, say, for somebody who hasn't even contemplated doing picot cutting yet. You see, you could use these plates even if you haven't even mastered the art of the cutting yet, because you can, just with the perforating and the embossing, it looks really lovely. So it's not that you're excluded from this, you just simply use the embossed lines. Right, okay. Great. So the first thing to decide is, let's indulge these floral letters. I drew these myself, B for bougainvillea, W for wisteria. You can see here, one of the things about the plates, and Scott, maybe you can show us, you'll see also, if you look at this one, Joy, you'll see that there are actually not just the illuminated letters that I drew, but also you've got 4 other alphabets also on each plate. So that way, of course, you don't have to use busy letters to spell out a name, for example, or a word.
That's what I was saying on this one, because when you look at the details on this, it doesn't give you the full story, because like you say, each one of those plates, so let's take A, for example, top right at the very top there, you've got that beautiful, gorgeous, I mean, edited, you know, with that A itself there, with the florals to go with it. But then if you're just looking for a classic capital of the A, you've got that in large. But then you've also got your A, which again in lowercase for that one. But if you're thinking, again, maybe you, depending on the space of the project you're looking at, you still want to start doing a name and you want that capital A for Andrew, but you don't want the really large one or even the second one down. You've then got another option again with a smaller capital A that you got, and then again you've got your A in lowercase. So each one of those plates, you've actually got 5 letters on, including that really big featured capital that you've got there as well. So this is great for all sides and all sizes of projects to be working on in every single letter and number of the alphabet, really.
Exactly. And if you've got the Groovy starter kit, in the starter kit, as far as because these are little baby plates, what you've got in the starter kit is, again, a plate mate that will hold these little plates in place. And there's also an inset, like a collar, that sits within the starter kit plate mate, and that helps you hold everything in place comfortably while you're working. Otherwise, it'd be quite difficult on these little baby plates to line up, you know.
Absolutely. This is, by the way, we are looking at here, this is a saving of over 50% on everything like this. And once you've got these, and then 20% of this stock has now, again, already been allocated. By the way, don't forget, we're not just looking at the plates on this, of course, as part of this huge bundle. You're also going to be getting in there another one of the plates of Torsa there. Has got your happy, you've got your and RD, the TH, for example. I don't know, what are those called? Are they ordinals?
Yes.
They're ordinal. I've got there. There's me trying to just, I felt like I was an optician's there, basically, going, top row, yeah, then you got your birthday in there, so you got your ordinals. You've also got in there your book as well to take you through as well for all your inspiration to be working on for your gorgeous floral alphabet, and you're going to be getting 2 of your storage folders also included within that bundle. Now that is a huge saving of £112. That's, I think, one of the largest savings I think I've ever said on this show. £99.60 is what you're looking at, which is phenomenal. 895621. It's available on a flexi, so you don't have to pay all that off in once. It's interest-free, 2 payments. Each one of those are £49.80 only, and we are now over 20% of the stock already gone. Now, very quickly, Barbara just mentioned the starter kit for you. Here it is that you can see on a picture of this one. It's £54.99. Item code is 946594 for that. Now, that is going to be everything that you need to get you flying and to start. Again, that's also on a flexi, just 2 payments. Each of those is only £27.50, and that is interest-free. 946594 holds everything in place and helps your work become even better because, again, it's not wobbling around. But actually, I think those starter kits are really imperative to have, aren't they? If you haven't got one yet.
I mean, to be honest, Scott, if you're going to start using the Groovy system, then the starter kit is exactly, the clue's in the name, the starting place to, that's where it all begins. And it comes with instructions, and it's a really great way of easing you in.
Perfect.
Having said that, though, back to these plates.
Yes.
Right? If we come back to Marseille, nice city, nice French city.
Never been yet.
Very lovely place. You can see here again, moving forward, you can expand or retract. You can make these borders as tall or as short as you choose. Again, here's the E for Edelweiss. But the thing is, you don't have to use. You can put photographs in the middle.
Of course,
you see, so here we are, the family. Then you can use stamped images. So say you're a stamper. We have the whole alphabet in stamped format as well. Or let me say, it doesn't always have to be square. Look, here's the round. Now this is using our picot cutting dies, which are brilliant. But this is, for example, now we've used a round one. Here we've got P for Poppy, or Paul, you see. And going right back to where we're headed is, of course, we've got our numerals as well, 65, which is exactly where we're going to go now.
Right.
So let's decide on this. And I'm going to show you now, if I may, how we use this.
Lovely.
grid. Is that okay?
Yes, please. Absolutely.
Right,
thank you.
So let's begin with the plate. And we'll take a closer look at it. One of the things that's worth pointing out as well is that every plate comes with instructions. So when we look at this, for example, you'll see here, Marseille, you can see exactly what the pattern is, what the grid is. Josie's designed this. This is what it's supposed to look like. This is slightly reduced. You can see it's not actual size. However, on the other side, actual size is the cutting pattern. And what that tells you, Scott, is exactly what needs to be embossed. That's the grey line.
Oh, I see.
And then the red, that's the cutting line.
Right.
So you can see exactly where the picot is. And so if you're not sure what bits to cut out, then the red pattern that accompanies the plate will tell you.
Right.
Right, so that's the first thing. Now, on a little aside, while we're here, we were talking about the plate mates that come in the starter kit.
Yes.
And what I wanted to show you was the plate mate that accompanies A4 square plates.
Ah.
Right, now this is a game changer. Let me show you this. Because when you start to do this, first of all, we're going to emboss first, right? So I'll turn it over to the back so I can feel the emboss. And I'm going to turn it round like this. And I'm going to use a piece of A4 parchment to get started. Now the thing is that I want to house it, to hold it comfortably while I'm working. So what I'll do is I'll use our, what we call A4 square Groovy plate mate.
Perfect.
And you can see this is the grid plate mate. It actually comes with, let me move the Marseille out the way, it comes with a fantastic instant grid plate. This is superb. And you'll see here that you've got wonderful patterns. This is for somebody really, really new to the game.
Right.
There's no perforating actually here, but you can see what a superb framing plate this is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really interesting. And I actually really like the idea of using you see these sort of, these dividers, if you like. I think these are great also for use with the city plates, because you could actually use elements on here to break up, so it's not just one continuous pattern. One of the things worth pointing out here is it comes in 2 halves. When Josie designed this ingenious grid plate mate, she designed 1 half on the diagonal plate and 1 half on the straight plate.
Right.
Really cool. So you can see at a glance, they're mix and match, they're interchangeable, but it's just worth pointing that out. So let's go back to the Marseille plate and let's put it in so that we know where to go. The other thing about this, because we've also got, actually in our arsenal of Groovy plates, we've also got A4 plates, haven't we? The big, like It's a Wrap plates from Linda Williams.
Yes.
Right? So if you wanted, I mean, in the end, they're going to start, and the reason that we split these is because they get larger and larger, and then they get snappable. Right?
Yeah.
So they're easier and less expensive to post. They're easier to store because they come in 2 halves. And then we thought, well, actually, my Dave had this idea. It was like, well, why don't you put a little spacer in? Check this out. Right, so we've got these little spacer pieces, and if we add those into the mix, then suddenly we've extended it, and we've made a house or a plate mate for an A4. Do you see? We've extended it. That's a great thing.
Yeah.
So there you go. So those come with this grid plate mate. Today, we're only focused on our smaller one. And the way to hold it in place while we're working is to wrap it around your artwork, make sure you're comfortable where it's going to be, and then we'll take our Groovy tabs and we'll just seal it at the top. Once you've done this once, to be honest, Scott, you don't have to do this every time. These 2 plates, you could just do it like that, and then just realign it every time.
Brilliant.
See? So once you've done it once, you don't need to. Does it actually, I think it might even come with tabs.
It does come with the tabs, yeah. We've got the details on the side of the screen there at the moment. We've got a saving on here as well, so it's down to $29.97. So for that, you are going to get the plate mate. That's for your A4 square grids, but you also got those extenders that Barbara was just showing us then, and also going to get your Groovy tabs that are really, really useful for those as well. 077430 is your item code on that one. Like I say, that actually as a bundle is really, really useful, and there's a £3 saving off there right now as well. Also, your one-day special, very quickly, that to let you know, and Barbara, you might be interested to know, 1/3 of the stock on your one-day special has now already been allocated, and I made that 22 minutes into the show of a one-day special. So please, 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 we always get a huge following on a launch of a one-day special, and when we have Groovy for you as well, again, honestly, it's busy. And when you start adding in a Freedom members offer, £26 saving, which is phenomenal, $53.96. That's delivered for that price. Plus, that's also available on a flexi for yourself to do so. So 073987 for all 4. That gives you Toulouse, Paris, Marseille, and of course Bordeaux. And your first of those payments is only $29.98. So phenomenal. Wow. In fact, it's even less, yeah, for Freedom members. It's $26.98 for Freedom members. So absolutely brilliant. But 1/3 of the stock has now gone. So, Barbara, I know, it's big. We said it was a very, very busy show. You was going to be.
I think diagonals are always busy. Diagonal grids are always busy because parchers know, seasoned parchers know, that diagonal grids are more difficult to line up and create.
I see.
And so this is an especially appealing type of pattern to the traditional parcher.
Yeah, lovely.
Now, let me show you now how easy these plates work.
Great.
If we take a piece of parchment, we're going to use A4 parchment also on the show, and we're just going to take a tumble dryer sheet, but let's wipe both sides.
Okay, now what's that doing then for us when we do that?
What this will do is, if you were going to do any white work, if you're going to do any perforating, especially with the white work or with the embossing, if you're going to do a line, this gives it gives more slick and anti-static to the parchment. So that if I were to run along that line, it will be a lot slicker.
Right.
And it won't pull.
Right,
okay?
Yeah.
So you'll find that mostly before we begin, and it's always a good idea when you're perforating to do both sides, because once you've perforated, it's impossible to rub over the back then.
Right.
So if I were going to do any white work, I'd wish I'd done
do it at the beginning.
Beforehand.
Preparation is the key, isn't it?
It is,
absolutely.
Yeah. So now I've got my parchment, for example, and I'm going to line it up. This is the piece I want to do, so this is going to be my shape. So now I can take my parchment, and the good thing about the grid plate mate in the background, it's got lines. We've got alignment lines, because I always think that that's a good thing to do, is to line up your parchment, for example, with a line on the outside. You see?
Right, I got you, yeah.
Now, the thing about this is that I'm going to do the embossing. Let me talk this through, and then you'll understand.
Okay.
I'm going to do the embossing, which is the dotting around here. Then when I've done that, I'm going to turn it round, and I'm going to do the other side, right? So to make my square.
Yeah.
What I think is a good idea is, rather than do the whole thing, it's always a good idea. Let me show you one that's already been started, and you'll see, if I show you on a piece of black card, you'll see that what I've done is I've created a kind of an outline, like a template. So rather than go all the way around and then get all the way around and then realise that I'm a millimetre out, I'm going to make sure that the dots are all in place before I start.
Right.
It's like a basic grid. So, for example, when you start now, instead of doing the whole thing, you're going to go round like this. I'll show you what I mean. And you're just going to put some dots in. This is now, let's say we've gone 3/4 of the way round. I'm fast forwarding here. And what you'll find is, when you do this, let me just start like this. I'm just going to finish this one corner here, just for speed, but it's a lot easier to go round and just do a little bit of the grid, the embossing, right?
Okay.
The only reason I'm doing it right now. So I'm going to do a little bit of the embossing with my number 2 tool. So the number 2 tool, here we go, it's got the number 2 here. So what we're going to do now is it's just for registration. And while I make these registration marks, it will make it a lot easier, right? As I go through here, I'm just going to, rather than do the whole thing,
got you,
and then be off by a couple of dots, I'm going to make registration points. So, for example, that dot, that dot,
yes.
that dot,
got you,
that dot, that dot. And all I've got to do is, with the number 2 tool, in fact, I've watched traditional parchers do this. I've watched Tina and Linda. And when they do this, what they tend to do is they just give a little wiggle like this, right? They just give a little wiggle, but what I'm suggesting is, and I don't think it's a daft idea, is to give yourself registration marks. And then once you've done that, right, then you go through and once you're happy that the whole thing has all lined up and you're happy with the registration and you haven't made any mistakes. This is especially key, let's say, with this one, Scott. We're embossing it just as it comes. So it's pretty straightforward. So you go up, round the corner, down the other side, flip it round 180 degrees, go back the other way. But let's say, for example, you were going to make it a bit smaller because the thing that you're going to frame needs to be reduced.
Yeah, OK, it's like a photo, whatever you're doing. Yeah.
So you're merrily going along and you're doing the whole thing, and then you've counted, and then you get to the end and you forgot to take you see what I mean? And then you get to the end and all of a sudden you're a diamond out. And then you can go again. How frustrating can that be? Right? So that's why we put our basic registration marks down and then we go again.
That makes sense.
And once you've done that, then you settle down. We use our Groovy guard to hold the work in place while we're going round, and then off you go. And when you watch the pros do this, they go like the clappers. Me personally, I find this actually very therapeutic and not a race. So I like to just go through with the number 2 tool at my leisure, and you don't have to whistle round.
No.
Okay?
No.
So let's fast forward, shall we?
Yeah, we can do. I'll just give the details on that screen because you put the guard on there you're just using, actually, and it's actually part of an accessory kit that comes. It's only $11.99, and that gives you 20 of your A5 sheets of that's your clear parchment paper that you'll need to work with this anyway, but that will also give you the Groovy guard that Barbara was just working with, and you're going to get another further 16 Groovy tabs also included in there. That's 211-682, and that's just $11.99. But I'm okay, just have a quick recap again. Is that okay for 1 second? And just give you the details again, because we are halfway through the launch of a brand new one-day special, and are we approaching? Wow, we're approaching. I can't believe it, approaching 40% of the stock. We only launched it at 6 p.m. It's now only 6:30, and 40% of the stock approaching now has already been allocated. Now there's some huge savings to be had on that, but before we even get to the savings, just think of what you're getting here. These are 4, and these are your A4 square Groovy Plates quartets in total. So that gives you Toulouse, Paris, Marseille, and also Bordeaux. Now you get all those wonderful framings to see. You're going to get the instructions on here as well, exactly on how you want to work with this for you working with your pattern grids, which is fantastic. Comes with it, and you get all those that will work on the diagonal. Now the nice thing about this, we've heard about this, it's the size of this and the fact that it's all going to be beautifully kept together to work with. You will be able to create incredible, beautifully bordered projects on these. And if I just give you some example again, with this whole idea of this beautiful lace grid, let's show. This is one at the moment. I think this is the one that the Barbara was working with, actually. I think it was. Were you with the Marseille one? You got the Marseille? Marseille. So here's some more examples again on how you can use. Don't forget, Barbara was talking about using photographs in there, for example. It looks great, absolutely beautiful. But also, just see, look at that, stunning there with the black behind it to set it off, which is gorgeous. And that's with the actual Marseille in there. But if you're going to get it also with our alphabet and letters to work with, you know, you can really create spectacular designs. How about a card like that to say Happy New Year? That is absolutely beautiful. Don't forget, because your alphabet and your numbers all come in that massive kit. That's for the Marseille. If I give you some examples of the ones for the Paris lace, for example, and don't forget, because you've just seen that, you can work with this and create exactly the size to fit the project you're working with. So you can see there, you've got more of your square, but if you're thinking more letterbox, again, it's just a matter of just literally counting, putting in those anchor moments in there, and making sure you can create the size.
Anchor moment. Love
Is that all right?
Scott.
We'll have that.
We'll have that.
We'll have that.
I'm putting that in my dictionary.
You've got that. You've got those little... I'm going to say that again. Those anchor moments, so you can line them up beautifully. That's from the Paris, but you've also got... Let's show you a couple from the Toulouse. Oh, and in fact, this is a nice way. If I show you this, that's giving you the classic frame, but there's no reason why, again, that you can't really embellish and go with that. Look at that. So, I mean, you have the tools at your disposal. It's all about the creativity, just like every one of your crafting, really, to create the look that you want. Now, when it comes to the offer, it's a fantastic offer. If you're a Freedom member, you got a £26 saving on this, which is absolutely brilliant. Now, that brings it down to £53.96 only. That is delivered for that price, of course. And you can spread that over 2 payments. Each payment is just £26.98. 073987. Now, I want to very quickly show you, before we pop back to Barbara, is the Italian section we got here. Now, we just looked at the ones with the French. Someone was asking, I think they've emailed in, what is the difference? Well, mainly it's your size. You've got your A4 there with your beautiful French, and here we're down to A4 there, A5 here, with the Italians that we've got here for your lace grid duets, of course, of the quartet. So in here we've got beautiful Florence you're looking at there, we've got Naples, we've got Rome, and of course we've got Venice. And again, same principles here, the same instructions to go through that you can work with, but again, even more different designs to be working with. I mentioned the scale is different here from A4 to A5. Just talk to us a little bit about the Italian section that we got here, because I think there's a lot of interest here as well, Barbara. And they're equally beautiful, again.
They are. So the Italian cities, we launched those, I think it was last year. And what you'll see is, again, they're on the diagonal, but they're smaller. And when they came to us, when Josie designed these, they just automatically got made into A5 plates because they're quite delicate patterns. When these French cities came in, they're quite intricate and quite deep, if you like.
Yeah.
And immediately when I saw them, there were a couple of them particularly deep, and I said, it was my bad, I said, I think that these would be better A4 square,
right,
only because it's easier because you've got more of a run.
Oh, I see.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the primary difference, that's why they're marginally more expensive, because the more holes that are drilled, the more they cost. That's the way it works.
Fair enough, isn't it?
And so these A4 square plates are actually easier to use, in my opinion, because you've got a longer run for alignment.
Right.
That doesn't mean, though, that the Italian plates, you can make those frames as big as you like also.
Of course,
but
of course.
The thing is, you haven't got as many patterns in a row as you have on the A4 square, full stop.
Right. That's fair enough, isn't it? I'm just showing some examples here again, because these frames, they are all different again to what we've just been looking at. And again, really, really beautiful. I mean, absolutely stunning. You wonder how different, your laces could be looking, actually, but these are really, really fabulous.
Yes.
Aren't they?
Really
now, if you're going to look at the Italian, we are approaching 20%. Really the first time we've had a chance to look at it in this particular hour for you. £12 saving on here, so down to £35.96. 088 705 if you want to go for all of those. Very quickly as well, I just want to bring to you some others that, again, you're going to be looking at. If you've been looking again at some of these thinking, oh, I'm liking the fact you've got names in there or you've got years, etc., you may want to start looking at these. These are also to be working with your beautiful alphabet. So the alphabet borders, this gives you uppercase, and it also gives you lowercase on these. Now, this has got a £3 saving on. This is a really good price for something that could actually be very crucial when you're doing your work on these, to have the alphabet in there, upper and lowercase. So it's only £12.98. But this is where you can really start personalising, can't you, your projects, and really making things more bespoke when you can put names of places or from people or dates, etc. you might be looking at there. So really perfect. 750 377. That's for the Groovy Italian cities alphabet borders. That's the uppercase and lowercase all included in there. If you are looking for something even more elaborate and even more of a feature for your projects, you need what's behind me here, because this is a massive reduction in the price for you, as a saving for you. You're saving over 50%. Now, each one of these plates that you're looking at, and there are 37 plates in total, but like I said earlier on, that's only half the story. Each one of those plates Yes, you've got your larger upper case with all that elaborate, beautiful artwork around it, so you can really go to town with someone's name or a place that you might be looking at. But equally, you're then getting 4 more of the same letter, but 2 more in uppercase, 2 more in lowercase, but graded in scale in size. So if you want to put someone's name and you're only looking on a smaller project, but you still want your capital, you've got your capital letter that's in there, but even in a smaller version of that. Plus then you've also got your other plate that's going to be giving you your love, hearts, exclamations. You've got happy and birthday on there, or your all knows are in there. I never knew that word before tonight. Then you've also got your booklet there as well to give you more inspiration with your floral alphabet, and 2 of your storage folders that are there. Now, over 40%, I'm not surprised, on the first hour, we're looking at the One Day Special to have this on with a saving of over 50%. That's £112 we're looking at there. That is now available for 2 payments. Each one is just £49.80 for all of that, and everything that each one of those plates can do is actually 5 things rather than just 1 on those plates. 895621. Keep shopping ahead on there as well. Barbara, let's come back to yourself. Honestly, it's busy across the board everywhere. They always love a bit of groovy.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. It is a wonderful pastime, you know, and it's also very mindful. It's very therapeutic, and it's actually very logical. And if I said easy to do, Groovy makes parching easy. It makes it available. What was quite an exclusive, difficult skill set or craft has actually become very doable and manageable with the Groovy
I'm just thinking
plates.
about that, just actually how much this has actually opened it up to what otherwise some people have been either quite scared of doing,
yes,
or
exactly.
just the whole time-consuming thing. This really gets you there a lot quicker.
And the other thing is that we have a huge community around our Groovy family.
Yeah.
So we have like Groovy Worldwide.
Yeah.
We have loads of blogs and workshops and tutorials, and we're always, it's not just those little II books that come, you know, with projects. Every weekend, one of the design team is showing you how to use these plates, how to use the Groovy system.
That's brilliant.
Projects.
That's brilliant.
And it's all free, you know.
That's great, isn't it?
So let's have a look now, for example, at just finishing off.
Okay.
So let's say, right, I whizzed all the way around this while you were chatting, right? And just to kind of come back to where we were, let's say I've gone all the way around, just concentrate on this bit here, yeah? And I'm just going to use my Groovy guard to protect my artwork while I'm going around. Number 2 tool, and let's just pretend I've gone all the way around now, and I'm finishing off all the embossing, the embossed work. And what's interesting is, as you go round, you see little patterns. So that's what I love about. You have to kind of get familiar with your plates. So these little flowers here, in here, this star that I'm doing now, do you see the star?
Yeah.
We're looking at it as an integral pattern, but these isolated patterns can be used, like for me, I see Christmas. You know, when you're going to put stars on your artwork, and then you think, oh, hang on a minute, that pattern's on the Marseille plate, you know, or I want those daisies and I'm doing a dress. Hang on.
And I suppose it's that one of the, because you are looking at it so closely, I suppose a lot, especially from a crafter's point of view, they're going to see shapes, patterns, images that's going to pop out a lot more than just the overall image. So yeah, it is. It's amazing how those little things can pop out at you.
So we're looking, for example, see, and this familiarity then, when you become familiar with your plates, they start to become real worker bees for you, you know. So let's take this off now, and now let's go to the next step. So let's say that we've gone all the way around and we've embossed it. So when you look over on this side, let's just check. This is where we're at now.
Right.
Right, that's what it looks like. Yeah, I've already gone ahead here, but let's say, well, I haven't, have I, heck? This is Josie's work.
Thank you, Josie.
Josie did all this for me. All I've got to do is fill in a couple of gaps. Right, but this, for example, is where you start. And then the next thing to do is to go to the perforating, this part here.
Right.
How do we do that? Okay, go back to the plate, and it says here, emboss this side up. So let's flip this plate over, like so, and you'll see on this one, it says perforate this side up. So that's the side now that will, so you just flip the plate round and you know that it's got to sit.
Right.
It will work. Right, that's the first thing. Next thing is, we're going to go through this now with a perforating tool.
Right, okay.
So I need a cushion, I need some sort of sponge underneath, and I could also use a light wave at this stage if I wanted to. Do I need it? Yes and no, it depends.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me just show you, for example. First of all, I'm going to use, if I'm going to use a light wave, I'm going to use sponge and a light wave.
Okay.
So let's take the light wave, let's slide this out of the way for a minute. We'll put the light wave in place, like that, and then we'll go 1, 2, 3, that's bright as it gets. Then we're going to diffuse the light with a sponge. This is super fun.
Oh, okay, right.
So that way, when I start perforating and drilling, I'm not going to keep hitting the light wave.
No, right.
Right, that's key,
yeah.
isn't it? So now we'll take our Groovy plate mate, our grid plate mate, hold that in place. Then we'll take our Marseille, perforate this side up. So it's very logical, Scott.
Yeah,
right?
I see, yeah.
Then I'll take our where we're going to start perforating. And what we're going to do now, this is the lovely thing is, I'm just going to show you the holes, if you like, because this side now is the front.
Right,
so it feels like Braille.
Does it?
I've flipped the artwork
now
and I've flipped the plate.
Do you know what? We just put we can see that now on our camera, and really clearly actually now through that from the.
Can you see
the
this?
holes? Yeah, yeah, I can see, and actually I can see it from the angle that I'm looking down on there as well, actually.
So now I'm just going to use a couple of Groovy tabs to hold it in place, right? It's so dark though. I'm just trying to see if I can find. It's all right, Marcus. This is like the throwdown on telly.
Can we just put an extra shilling back in?
This is crafting blindfolded. Yeah. Right. So what we're going to do? No, it's fine. I'm only joking. Once you've got it in place, right? Let me just make sure that it's in the right place. And what you'll see is that you can see the drilled holes, and they're in between the embossed holes.
Right.
So just to recap, in case I wasn't clear on this, this is you definitely want to get this in the right place, right? So just use your, there you go. Just go round. You've got a lot, see, because it's an A4 square plate, you've got a lot of alignment and a lot of registration, right? And what I wanted to explain is that once you start, then you can, when you flip the plate, you flip your art at the same time.
Right, yeah.
That's what I wanted to make sure that I said. Because now you emboss. I noticed on Facebook somebody was starting out and they said, what side do you perforate from? So you perforate from the front and you emboss from the back.
Right.
And that's why, do you remember when I said make sure that you rub both sides with a tumble dryer?
Yeah, you did, at the very beginning.
Because once you perforate, the back side will be quite rough, like sandpaper.
Isn't it? Yes.
And you wouldn't be able to do that then. And so then what we're doing now is, we're going through, I really like doing this.
See, that looks very, very therapeutic, doesn't it?
And
the fact that you know it's going into that mat as well, it's going into the piezo mat, so you're not damaging anything.
No.
I bet it feels quite good, actually, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, I bet.
It does. And I'm using a 1 needle bold tool, right? And I'm just going around, and you can see exactly, you can see the light. Can you see the light coming through?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just going all over the place here, but I'm trying to make sure my hand's not in the way so that you can see what I'm doing.
Not at all.
But what's interesting is, because the light wave is underneath, I can see immediately what I've done and what I haven't, because
Right.
the light starts to peep through.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
The light actually does seem like, I'd imagine that people are really into working with this as well, that you can have that, just have that set up, leave it set up, just go back to it, and it doesn't matter about whatever time of night it is, day, whether it's good daylight coming through or dark. I think that light mat will be really useful for a lot of people.
The light wave is a game changer.
Yeah.
Because whilst in the beginning I'm always mindful of cost, and I was saying, well, do we actually need it? Do we need it? Well, with clear parchment, let's say at a pinch, you could get away with this. If you put a black mat underneath, you could probably get away with clear parchment, transparent parchment like this. You can see what you're doing. The minute you use coloured parchment, you're hiding to nowhere. And then when you start to use the light wave, then you really understand why you've invested in one. So, so that makes a big difference. And also, I live in a really old house, like an old farmhouse, and the lighting's not great. And so to have a light wave, it makes such a difference.
Yeah, I bet.
You know, the other thing about this is, when I do this, when I start to perforate, if I hit an area that hasn't got a hole, a drilled hole underneath it, it won't affect the parchment, look.
Right.
So it's only where the drilled holes are that I can actually create this effect. And if I take it out, it's really easy to relocate because they kind of fall back into the holes.
Yeah, yeah,
so,
I got you.
So the whole purpose of this, if you like, is that what we've done now, and I think I'll stop there, Marcus, before I plunge us all into darkness.
I tell you what, with just the lights coming back up,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that actually the irony of this, with the lights up, you can see the saving you got on that. Look, £13 saving if you're going to go for that right now. And again, if you're thinking, you know, to do with sort of just struggling sometimes with if it's dark or you're not quite seeing it, or you find yourself conscious saying, put big light on, this could be the one for you. This gives you the whole thing. So it's the A4 light panel that you're going to be getting. Including that light panel, you're going to get the cover, and you're also going to be getting the piercing mat to go with it. Now, on Flexi, because you are saving £13 on this, it's just 2 payments of £27.49. But, as you heard Barbara say, it's a game changer, you know, to have it there set up, to really start looking at it. Even before we start the weekend with your colouring of your parchment, this can be really crucial for helping you really get those perfect and not miss anyone at all. By the way, just while we've been talking, the one-day special has gone to over 40% of the stock, and we are still in the first live hour, so just bear that in mind. If you've just joined, you've just come in from work, you've just sat down with a brew, we've only got around about 6 minutes left of this hour, but Barbara will be back then at... oh, it's Paul actually, isn't it? It's Paul back at 8?
6 minutes, is that it?
That's what we got left in this hour.
Hurry, I've still got the scissors to show off.
Oh, right, we'll go back to Barbara, but there's more coming up again at 8 o'clock, so you can carry on. But get it, because it's going quick.
These are so cool to use as well. I like these better, the diagonal ones. I really enjoy doing these, and I think it's because it goes round both corners.
Oh, okay.
But the next thing to do, so we've done the embossing, right? We've done the embossing part of it. Ready? We've done the perforating part of it. And now we're going to do the cutting part, the bit where you take make the holes, the picot cutting. So when you look at the actual pattern here, it tells you exactly where to go. So we've got choices. Now I'm a left-handed person, but the scissors are for ambidextrous, which is quite a result, right? So for example, if we look at the scissors here, we've got 3 different sorts. Let me just explain. We own Pergamano, by the way, which is quite something, really. Okay, and these particular, it's like which tool do you prefer? You know, we've got 3 different sorts. We've got the ring locks, which are these ones. I think the ring locks they're really sharp, they're good, they're more expensive than your average scissor, but they're specifically for parchment art, and I find the holes, if you've got quite big fingers, they're quite good for if you've got bigger fingers.
Okay, I'll give the details of that one then, Barbara. $27.98, and that is for the ring lock scissors. That's 429,423. The only reason I'm saying that because all 3 sets of scissors are on different item numbers for you. Right. 429,423 for the ring lock scissors.
Right, so they're the ring locks. Then we've got, let's call them, these are the snips or perga cutters, and these are great for people with dexterity problems who struggle or cramp up like that.
Oh, okay.
Because they're like tweezers, and you just snip. They're very sharp, very good. Big favourite among a lot of crafters, a lot of archers.
Okay, so the perga cutter is $27.98, and the item code there is 176768. And last but not least, these are my favourites, and these are the more inexpensive ones. These are what we call the exclusives, and they're just really super fine, and they're perfect for me. They work for me, right? And these ones are the exclusive scissors, which are the least expensive of the they're only $10.99. Yeah. 508312 is your item code for those ones. Choose which one of those will be best for you. We've got 3 minutes.
Right, so I'm going to take the scissors and I'm going to put my thumb in there. They're spooning upwards, if you like. I'm going to put my thumb in there. I'll put my 3rd finger in there. And now what I'm going to, or maybe even that one, that'll do. And now what I'm going to do is you're cutting from the top and you're holding the scissor over the waist. So, for example, if I wanted to do this, I'm just going to pop the holes like that in the 2 holes and snip. So I'm going to go in, lean over and snip. And the whole idea is to get that lovely little V. And all I'm doing is popping 2 in there and then leaning forward. And as you do this, what you'll end up with, and it's not a race, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to do this, but the idea is that you get that lovely picot V. Do you see? This is the picot V. And then when you look to your pattern, you'll see also that we're supposed to be cutting out, for example, the little diamond in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
And then the idea is that you hold the scissor over the waist. So in other words, you hold the scissors over the bit that's going to fall out. And then you just turn the artwork round so that it's comfortable for you, like this, and then just snip, 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 and then we'll go again. We're not going into mass production, right? But I've got I've got black super foam underneath. When I lift that, you'll see there's the hole. Yep. You see? And that then, when you do that 6 times, you get these wonderful little stars. And then when you do that, you get that, right, which is amazing, right? And then the best thing is, so this is on a piece of our designer paper, but look how transformational that is. If I want to change the background, all I have to do is change the colour in the background. Yeah. And there you go, Bob's your uncle.
Absolutely brilliant. Barbara, thank you so much.
And that's just as it comes, Scott. That is just as it comes. That is what you get. If you don't have to extend it, don't have to reduce it. This is what you get.
We have got some of the papers, by the way. We're going to pop them at the bottom of the screen for you. I know we're just seeing them right now. There's a pick a mix on there for you. 2596 869 934. Right, so 1 day special. We're in the first hour. Over 40% of the stock has now already gone. Don't forget, another live hour. Paul is going to be taking you through at 8 o'clock. And then Paul's back with me again at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Sorry about that, Paul. Is that all right? Is that okay? And then, of course, he'll be taking you through the rest of the day as well tomorrow. Again, another one at 12. So if you've just come in thinking, oh, I've missed it, don't worry. You've only got an hour to wait before your next live hour to go through. But get in quick. A lot of people would be buying now between the next show because they've seen a lot of those been demonstrated. But some real bargains to be had. Barbara, thank you so much, Steve, for this hour, for launching with us as well.
Thank you very much. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. It's lovely to see those floral alphabets being framed in French cities.
And we've got a lot more samples that we'll show as well throughout the rest of the 1 day special. So from Barbara and myself for this hour, thank you very much indeed for your time. Please don't go anywhere. I'm going to be up next as well with some lovely crocheting for you with Rosella, and we'll see you back here again at 8 for more.